Hello viewers, welcome to another new video. In this video I'm going to explain ASP.NET MVC web application full stack web development using .NET SDK 9.0. So I just create a project simple architecture overview so that you can understand properly. So Microsoft is already released .NET SDK 9.0 which is preview version. I already installed .NET SDK 9.0 in my local machine. How you can check your .NET SDK into your local machine? You can use Microsoft PowerShell. So using PowerShell you can check the .NET version, .NET version. So latest 9.0 which is RC release candidate, and if you want to check the entire .NET SDK into your system, so you have to write .NET info, sorry, .NET and F. So most of the .NET version I have installed in my PC because I have several projects. So most of the project I already migrated from .NET 6 to .NET 8, and Microsoft is planning to release .NET 9. Official release is November 12th. So here is the Google search result. So .NET SDK 9.0 expected to be official release November 12th. So here is the summary of .NET SDK. So in this video we are going to create ASP.NET MVC full stack CRUD operation using .NET SDK 9.0. So this is the beginner tutorial for ASP.NET MVC with .NET SDK 9.0. Here is the project overview, what we are going to do in this video. So first we'll create the project using Visual Studio. So I'm considering you already install a Visual Studio Community 2020 in your local machine, also .NET SDK 9.0 preview version. So community version is absolutely free. You can download from here. Let me show you how you can download the Visual Studio Community version. So Visual Studio, VIS, Visual Studio. So download Visual Studio and just scrolling and go down, and Visual Studio Community 2020. So you have to install, and also there is a once you click this link, there will be some megabyte exe file will download, and using that executable file you have to install Visual Studio with ASP.NET. You just install ASP.NET and ignore the other stuff like Windows Form and others, Python stuff. So here is the Visual Studio summary. Now back to the diagram. So we know I'm just talking about as you fresher or very beginner. That's why I'm talking want to talk details what is MVC and what is backend and what is frontend and what database we are going to use. You might ask this question. So in any web applications there is a common three part like front-end, back-end and database. So I just draw the diagram with three different portion: front-end, back-end and database. In the back-end part we have a we are going to use MVC framework. MVC stand for model view controller, and controller you can consider middleman. Controller will communicate with model and view, and finally it will show the result into view and store with the help of ORM, object relational mapping, entity framework code into database. Also retrieve or read data from database with the help of entity framework code. So in the backend part we'll use controller, C# controller. So I should add a image here like C# programming language. In the backend we are going to use C# programming language, also the library.NET SDK 9.0, and we'll install three nuget packages: InitialCreate, InitialFrameworkCore.Tools and InitialFrameworkSqlServer using nuget package manager console or using the terminal. So middle part, I hope you understand. Pretty simple. Your controller will communicate with ORM and ORM will directly communicate with database, and controller also some processing data with the help of model and return to the view, and as a user we can check the view, and view also communicate with the front end, like front end with related with Bootstrap, jQuery, JavaScript, ASP.NET Razor, and HTML CSS. So hope you understand the basic HTML CSS, jQuery, and JavaScript. If you know the basics, if you want to learn more detail, more minimum basic, then you can go to here. I would like to suggest complete this tutorial, W3 School. So before starting full stack development with ASP.NET MVC, you should complete 3 tutorials from W3 School. First one is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Also nice to have complete like jQuery. So if I go to the HTML, so very nicely explained in this tutorial, so you can pick and complete one by one. A lot of things here. I think you need some couple of days or weeks. Anyways, hopefully you will complete this. So front end part done, back end part, and if we go back to database part, we're going to use MS SQL Server, which is Microsoft product. So with the help of Entity Framework Core ORM, will communicate from back into database. Also sometime we store database and sometime we request for get database. So these are the overview of this project. Now let's start by creating fresh new project using Visual Studio. Just minimize this diagram. I already opened my Visual Studio. Here's the Visual Studio. I'm going to create a fresh new project with by selecting .NET SDK MVC. So asp.NET Core model view controller. Next, and my project path will be, let me copy. So let's say my project path is tutorial project, and the project name is .NET 9.0. .NET 9.0, and if I select the next button, then I have the option into the drop down portion. I can select .NET any SDK, but as we are going to use and we are going to talk about latest .NET SDK 9.0, so I'm going to select 9.0 preview create. So project is creating. It will take a few moments. And one more thing you might be struggle with, like showing the drop down .NET SDK preview into your Visual Studio, because I already faced this problem. I installed .NET SDK. Also you have to install the .NET SDK from the Microsoft site, .NET SDK. I installed latest .NET SDK 9.0, but did not show into the drop down 9.0 preview. But there was a problem. There was a problem. Did not create the project using latest 9.0. I will show how you can solve this problem. So here you have to download the .NET 9.0 release candidate, but later, like after November 12, you can get the official 9.0. You have to select x64 for Windows machine, then it will download, and later you have to install into your local machine. So how you can recover or fix the issue during creating the project .NET 9 preview SDK version not showing. So you have to go to the tools, options, and preview features. So you have to enable like this checkbox, so that .NET SDK to show your drop down, and using that SDK you can create the project. let's build the project. We can see using .NET 9 project is building. So project build success. Also using terminal you can build the project. Open in terminal. Maybe some issue I'll fix later. I can use my PowerShell. Here is the project path. I'm just copying the project path and let me open my PowerShell cd project path cls ls file path is absolutely correct. CLS and .NET build. Using the .NET build command, you can build your project, and .NET run. Using the .NET run, you can run the project from the terminal. So project build success. Now we are going to run the project using terminal. So project is running with port 5045. If we check localhost 5045, localhost 5045 is correct. Sorry, there is a spelling mistake. Localhost 5045. So this is the default template, home and privacy, just routing, default routing, and we can move to one page to another page. So now we have to create first we have to create model, and then make sure the database connection and add migration, update database. Then we jump to create the controller and view. Finally we'll run the project and test and execute the project. So here is the let's move for now I am going to create first model, then make sure the database connection is string and add migration and update database. So we'll create one model for completing one CRUD operation. Sorry, we just create the project using F#. Let me create the project again using with C# so that we can use our preferred language. Sorry, somehow by mistake we created F# project. Anyways, I just created a C# project. Please avoid that additional part. Here is our latest project using .NET SDK 9.0. By following the same step you can create, just you have to select the C# instead of F#. So project running successfully. Now we are going to create model first. As we are going to create complete CRUD operation, so we'll create one CRUD operation like category, like category name and description. So we will have three different fields: ID, name and description. So category, and new class, category. So in the model folder we have to create the category, and now we'll add three entity or fields, which is ID, name and description. Public, integer, name Visual Studio is suggesting, and will good enough. And then into the app setting.json file we will make sure the connection string here allow dot. Let me copy my connection string from my other project connection string. So I will explain to connection string one by one. First one is Windows authentication. You can log in your SQL Server. Let me show you using your Windows authentication. Like as you already sign in into your Windows machine using username and password. So that credential will used for SQL Server login. So here is my SQL Server. If I log in with my username and password, then I can connect my SQL Server and also check my database. Also, if I go to the connection object again, I can connect using Windows authentication. This. So both way you can connect SQL Server. So we are going to we'll use the SQL Server with database name, username and password, and trusted certificate true. SQL Server. So our connection string is ready. Now we have to make sure the install nuget packages from package manager console using the tool nuget package manager. Manage nuget package manager for solution. InitialCreate browse. Preview is not showing, so I'll use the command line. There's a 3 different command for installing EntityFrameworkCore.Tools and SQL Server. We have already opened PowerShell. If you click your project, then you can see we have used .Net SDK 9.0 but did not install any packages. Let's install one by one. We can copy the first one and press enter, then it will install. It should show here. Okay. Anyways, I think it should show in the pros job CS pros file. If we open with notepad, interestingly not showing the install package. Oh, sorry, somehow we did not copy the right project, but here is our right project path, because first time we created project using F#, so later we move to the C#. CLS CD new project path CLS. So this is our F# project, and here we have to install Entity Framework Core 3 packages. So let me copy the first one and enter. So first one is installed. So as expected, Entity Framework Core installed successfully. Then next and next one. Also second one successful, and if we copy the third one, so 3 different package Entity Framework Core, SqlServer and Tools install successfully. Entity Framework Core, if we give you the simple overview, will communicating with SQL Server and manage the application DB context and model, and SQL Server it's basically Entity Framework Core ORM is communicate with the SQL Server and tool using this package. We can migrate at migration and update database for helping the functionalities. And so we have ready model app setting.json file connection string is ready, and we have done the package manager console installation. Now I'll create the data folder, and under the data folder I will add application DB context. And new folder which is data, and I will create a new class, application DB context class. I extend DB context DB context. So now we'll add like category model here, public DB set it should get set here. It should be under application DB context class. I am copying some common code here, application DB constructor, and on model creating make sure the base on model creating builder. So builder is an instance. Using this instance database will create. So our application DB context is ready. Now we'll inject this instance into program.cs file. Let me just clear first. We have a ready instance builder. Using this instance we make sure the database connection string and DB context, application DB context. So first let me make sure the connection string builder.service application DB context. So we inject the application DB context using builder instance. Now make sure the connection string and pass the connection string into the builder services for SQL Server connection string. So pulling the connection string here from appsetting.json file and pass that connection string into the parameter that use SQL Server option using lambda expression. So this is the lambda expression, and passing the application DB context and builder.services add DB context. So we have to add the DB context here with by passing the connection string. So DB connection string is ready. So let me give you a simple overview. So first we create the model, then make sure the connection database connection string into the appsetting.json file, then create a application DB context, and then add the model class. And later in the program.cs file we just make sure the application DB context instance and pull the connection string and pass the connection into the SQLs, and you pass the connection string into the SQL Server. So now we can create migration and update migration. Now we're using the tool package manager console. we'll create migration and update migration. So CLS create migration init create. Maybe some issue here. If we build the project, is building and expecting there will be no error. Please wait a few moments here. So project build success, but using package manager console, create migration command not executing and showing some error. Let me copy so that we can check the typing mistake. I'm just copying my existing file, existing project command, helper. Okay, let's create migration using command line. Using a command line, you can create migration. Command is EntityFramework.Net EF migration at InitialCreate. So if we execute this command, then yes, project build. First, it will build the project, then create the migration. I think might be database connection issue. So yes, successfully migration created successfully. Maybe my entity framework core tool is older version is there, so it's showing the warning. Anyways, later I will update. And the update command is .net entity framework database update. So if connection string is by right, then it will create database and create table. There is so for testing purpose we already create the database. Let me just drop the database first and try executing command queries. So database dropped successfully. If we execute the update command again, cls.net entity framework EF database update. Yes, this time database update successful. So in this tutorial point, if we summarize our progress, then what we have done initially, I explained the what is MVC, what is the project structure, what we are going to discuss. Then second part, we created the project using C#. In a first time by mistaken we create the project using F#, and US we correct that project default template project. Then the third part, we have created model, add the database connection string, make sure the application DB context and pass the connection string into the builder.instant for using SQL Server by creating dependency injection. And then the fourth part, we create migration and update migration. During this step we face some issue and successfully we resolve the issue. So a 60% project done. Now we have to create the controller and view, then we can check, and finally definitely we'll get the output like let me show you what output we are going to get. Anyways, I'll maybe somehow I did not find the images initially I explained. Okay, give me some moment. So after completing this tutorial we'll get screen like this. So complete CRUD operation using model category. So we'll create a dummy data so that we can test this project properly. So now our next step is create the controller. Here is the controller. Before creating controller, let me create some dummy data. Okay, we have a ready controller. I will explain the controller code one by one. Controller, and the namespace is .NET 9. Yes, namespace is absolutely fine. I'm just building the project for testing if any issue or error here. So build success. So here is our app play categories controller. So first we inject the context. Here is our context using dependency injection. We create the instance context. Using this instance we access the database. So first in the indexed using asynchronous programming, we have used async task. So using asynchronous programming we are pulling data to list. If list contain data, then it will not. If list contain at least one row, then it will not create this small method, and else it will create the method. Basically initially it will execute this method. If we go to the implementation method, so get category list and add into the category and save into the database. So here is the 10 row dummy data for category, and here is the save data into the category database category table using entity framework. So if we back to the index, so initially it will execute this code, and else always return this code, just returning the index with the default list, category list. And details, so just pulling the data category by ID and return to the view the category one row. And create, initially it will just show the view, and then once we click the create button, then it will pass the data into the model category and context.add category and context.save asynchronously. So for asynchronous programming we have to add the await. So we are saving data, and edit also the same functionality using the id. We are pulling data here, expected data. If null not found, you'll see it will return that data, and so that we can edit. And finally the save method for edit operation. And delete using the id, we are pulling the data, and if null, if not null, then if not null, we are going to remove using the EntityFrameworkCore default link your method dot category table name dot remove. Here is our database instance, and the common method category exists, and then this code is for executing dummy data. So our controller is ready now. If you have any confusion, queries, then definitely let me know. I will explain the code. Full CRUD controller. Now the view. In the view part, we have used a razor, and for pop-up we have used to suite alert. We have to add that library to our project. Into the view, we have to create like categories folder. Folder categories, and under this folder we'll add create, delete, details, edit, index for 5 view. Create, delete, details, edit, index 1 2 3 4. Create using the razor. So we just make sure the model here as we passing the model, and this is the basic HTML code. So I already suggest you please go to the W3 school and try to learn HTML, CSS code, deep level, and the form. So we are submitting from here using the input type button. It will go to the create controller. Here if we click the create button, create, here it will come here. So our view is ready now. One more thing we have to make sure, like incorporate the suite alert so that we can get the pop-up. Into the index file, leave suite alert. So www leave folder. I'm just copying the suite alert and pasting here, so that project can map the path properly. So leave suite alert to suite alert. So it will, unless if we do not add this link here, this code will not work. So our view is ready now. If we build again, one more thing, so we have to add the menu. So for menu, you have to go to the view, shared folder, and layout. Layout already you will have home, privacy, and before privacy we can copy the privacy part and paste here. Controller name is categories and title is categories. It's absolutely fine. Let's build. And rebuild. Run. So categories menu is showing here, and somehow maybe we map the wrong things into the view. Let me correct. ASP.NET controller categories, it will be index, not privacy. Sorry for the mistake. This time category route will work properly. See, so our full CRUD data is ready, but one more things we have to make sure, like beautification, we did not incorporate the CSS for table design. So if we open our expected design, so it looks good with the table beautification, but in our project it looking just showing data without any table beautification. Anyways, I'm adding the table CSS. So for table CSS you have to go to the www.css site.css. Here you have to already bind the class name index. So into the table class blue green. So blue green class we have to add into our project. So this is the blue green beautification class for HTML table. So let me check if we run and check the project again, then hopefully this time we will get the UI with expected design. Yes, so asp.NET Core 9 MVC project using MS SQL database. So details, details working. If we click the delete, also a pop-up is showing, which is switch alert, cancel, and edit category 204 update. So update also successful. If we delete, categories has been deleted successful. Category ID 1. Add new. Test data DVD. Create. Also add new successful. So summaries, we have successfully create complete CRUD operation and also successfully test the project. Now I will summarize and close this video, summarize and explain some project structure and summarize the entire video so that you can understand this beginner tutorial for .NET SDK 9.0. So here is our project structure. I'll give you a short overview so that you can understand the minimum things for ASP.NET MVC full stack web development. So before closing this video, let me summarize the project, what we have done so far. So we successfully run the project and get the expected CRUD operation result, what we have shared in start of this video. So we get this screen. So now I am going to close this video, but before closing this video, I will explain the project structure and summarize the video. So we created ASP.NET MVC template project. So MVC I already before initially when we start this video, we explain the MVC architecture details, model view controller. So basically MVC, here is the MVC project structure. So we have a controller, we have a view, and we have a model. So make sure you all the model you can consider the database table, all the table here, and each view you can create one controller. So we have just one categories controller, and we have a view just create, delete, update, and index. So complete CRUD operation view. So for this is for MVC part, and if you want to add CSS and jQuery or JavaScript, you have to go www root folder and JS folder. You can add your custom JavaScript code here, and the CSS you can add your custom CSS files, and also you can some code here. We already add like table customization, beautification CSS code. And if you want to add lib, or you already add suite alert, you can add the additional library, JavaScript library here. So this is the basic project structure, and initially this is our output result of this video. And initially we explain one diagram. So if we recap this diagram, so front end part we add some jQuery library and perform simple JavaScript delete operation. Let me show you. And for simple explanation, in the index part, here is the delete method. So if you want to delete row, then it will trigger pop up with, do you want to delete this item with message? If yes, then it will call the Ajax delete delete operation, and it will redirect to the URL categories delete with the ID, and if success, then it will perform the pop-up with the delete successfully. And so we just perform simple jQuery operation, also bootstrap like button and design beautification, asp.net razor like model part, binding data, and HTML CSS. So you have to learn basic HTML CSS JavaScript from W3 school before starting this project. That will be very good. And in the middle part we created model, controller, view, and install the Entity Framework Core different packages using nuget package manager. And we, before starting this project, we installed .NET SDK and check the .NET SDK using package and PowerShell. And database part, we open database, but for database details we can have another video how you can install SqlServer, browse SqlServer, write minimum SQL query. Let's say how we can get your server name using SQL query. Select @server name. So using this simple SQL, you can get your server name. This server name you have to pass. This is your local SQL server name. You have to pass in your app setting.json file, and this is the server name. I just pass my server name, SQL server name. And so SQL server details we can talk in another video. Maybe we have I created a video how to install SQL server. If required, I can share the URL. So Entity Framework Core is ORM we used in this project as the code first approach. Create migration and update database using terminal command. So middle part, backend part we covered, and database part we covered, and front end part. So, and here is the project, and let me just run finally so that I can get the output. Project is running 7077 port, but if you might ask question how we can change the port number. So if you want to change the port number, then you have to go to the properties. There is a properties folder, and properties and LAN settings. So here you can change the port number and configure according to your needs. So thank you for watching this video, and if you have any question and any feedback, please feel free to share in the comment section. Please do subscribe and like, so that we can motivate it and add more video like this, and hopefully we'll continue, but make sure please subscribe and like, so that YouTube algorithm can promote our site and video. Thank you again. See you in the next video.